I am momentarily speechless.
Well, I could jump in then. I was just going to say, so Dead Prez to me feels politically very similar to Rage Against the Machine, and I would love to have seen them, and I don't know if they ever did, tour together or even just like do a song together, maybe if they were both at a festival or something, because I think they're very much cut from the same cloth. I think with a band like Dead Prez, you there's a certain, like, kind of like with Rage Against the Machine, there's a certain amount of agitation. I mean, I think they probably believe everything that they're saying in terms of what should be done with society. But even if one doesn't agree with them, I think it's really valuable just to kind of see what a revolutionary perspective looks like and take time to listen to it, and just kind of say, like, okay, like, can that work? How would that work? Is that what's best, kind of for everybody? But it's challenging. Like, they're a challenging band to listen to, because they'll say some pretty inflammatory things. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, this is pretty traditional, like, communist stuff, with maybe a little anarchist flavor.
yeah,
It might be a little bit more, not necessarily straight up Lenin communism, but or even Marxist, but very different than the system that we're running now. And I think you're right. I think they do point out some significant problems. So at the very least, say, like, what are the ways in which this is true, is useful. And then secondly, what I was really struck by is, for a person who is struggling in the way that Mos Def describes, or these guys, like, it doesn't feel like what's to be lost in a revolution.
right,
Like, oh, okay, the alternative is eventually I go to jail for the rest of my life or get executed. So what's the difference?
right.
And that to have been even a mostly passive part of a society that has placed people in that position should give one pause and concern.
Right. Yes. Anytime you see, I think it's important. Anytime you see a human being behaving in a way where you're like, well, that's not how I would have behaved.
Right.
I think it's important to say, like, okay, like, what's driving them to this, and is that underlying reality, is it true? And if it's true, is it how can that be, like, how can it be addressed, essentially, as opposed to just saying, like, no, we don't behave like that, and like leaving it really surface level, which I think is what, I see that a ton in the comments, where people are just like, you shouldn't do that, like, that's not, we don't do those things.
Right.
It's like, well, why are they doing them, and what needs to happen so that they don't do them anymore?
Yeah, I
So
think
the problems are addressed, not just the
right.
Yeah.
Well, and not to be overly reductive, but I think for people like if you've heard, like, if you know the story from Les Miserables, right? Like
Yeah.
why would you steal a loaf of bread? Not for no reason.
Right.
And this isn't so dissimilar in a lot of ways. So,
Yeah.
well, that was really powerful, and the music, I guess I haven't really reflected on it. It was solid, really good stuff.
That came out 1 year after the Mos Def
Okay.
song, so they're almost the same time. So now we're going to jump, like, this was obviously not meant to be representational of the history of rap at all.
Right. Yes.
I certainly would have included, at one point, this playlist had, I don't remember the name of the song, but it's the one by Grandmaster Flash that has "Don't Push Me Because I'm Close to the Edge." I can't remember the name of that song. And it had "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy on there. It's but I was just like, you know what? Like, those songs aren't like what I listen to necessarily. So let's do something else. So we're going to skip way ahead from 99, 2000 to 2017 and 2019 for the next two songs. So we're jumping way forward. And we're going to do "Fear" by Kendrick Lamar. And I don't need to hype him up. The Grammys have done that for me. And frankly, the song will take care of itself. So
Yeah, Kendrick would be an artist that I've like dabbled in a bit because he is so good.
Yeah, and obviously this last song was just a fan made kind of clip video. This one is also it was hard, like I really wanted particular songs, and so I had to go. Like many of them didn't have official videos, but the last one does. So
I want to say, like, I was really curious to see if the NWA anthem, "F the Police," was going to make your list. Although I don't know
thought about it.
I don't know what I would have said, except for like that is a perspective that has merit in some ways. But maybe, and now I'm on a list somewhere. So there you go.
Yeah.
But let's check out Kendrick.